Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing tonight? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Hollywood After Dark, 28th of August, 2019. I don't really have like a title for today's show. I don't really know what the hell's going on. We're just going to open up the calls here as soon as people start kind of filtering in. It's been a bit of a long day. I have a 3-week-old daughter, if you know that about me, and she was having a bit of a rough night, so that's probably why I don't have anything situated just yet, because I wasn't able to. I wasn't able to get what I needed to get done, and that's okay. These things happen, right? Having that, be I guess having children makes working from home difficult. Anyway, we could talk about a couple different things. We could look at some stuff. Matthew McConaughey is now a University of Texas film professor. That's right. Matthew McConaughey is a teacher. Holy crap. There was the nice little thing about the Rise of Skywalker little featurette from the other day that was talking about how there was they CGI'd Kylo's cape on him, and they screwed up the reflection. Hey, what's going on, Shidoko? What's going on, Jack? Hello there. Good times. The thing is, there hasn't been a lot of really solid good news recently. I know there was a new Joker trailer today, which we could talk about that. That was really good. Really enjoyed that quite a bit. I was very excited to see what that movie has to bring. So there's that. I'm looking on Twitter. I see Boogie2988 apparently fucked up again, but I have no idea what that's about. The Steven Universe movie is this week. Why would I care? I mean, if you happen to be a Steven Universe fan and there is a movie coming and you are excited for that movie, by all means. Yeah, right. If you're excited, that's great, man. Like, I'm personally excited for the Downton Abbey movie in a couple weeks. That's going to be great. In the meantime, I'm just kind of like hanging out. I haven't gone and seen anything in a while. Let me just quickly post what's going on. If I could type and talk at the same time, because that's clearly what I have trouble doing. It's like walking and chewing gum at the same time. Can't be done. It can't be done, I tell you. And then, of course, people do it far better than me, far more accurate than me. And that's okay. That's all right. Okay. And that's posted on the twits. Let me post this in the Discord for people who are in there, and we'll see what we get. What do I think of the Snyder Cut? Jack, what do you mean by that? Are you asking specifically what I think about the Snyder Cut in regards to its existence or what's going to be there? I'm curious to know your thoughts. Nathan, you're at work till 1:30. That's good. 1:30. I'm assuming we're talking specifics. What up, Void? How you doing, buddy? You're looking forward to Ford v Ferrari. I've seen the trailer. I've seen the trailer for that, and it looks interesting. Like, it's not one I'm going to rush out to go see in theaters, to be fair. I know it's James Mangold. I know it's Matt Damon's in it, isn't he? Who is it? Is it Matt Damon and like Lee Pace or something? I forget. Do I think it's real? Jack asks about the Snyder Cut. Yeah, I think it's real, but I think the Snyder Cut exists in like kind of a multitude of ways. You know, it's not like Schrodinger's cut, really. What it boils down to is simply this. Zack Snyder shot a movie. You know, he was doing all the pre-viz work before going in the pre-production phase. And from what I hear from one of the visual effects guys, that they were already working on it. So there's definitely pre-viz effects that are done. There's scenes that are shot around the what they were going to add in later on. But I don't think that there is completed CG work on the movie in order to make it come out like an actual Snyder Cut. Now, should Warner Brothers invest the couple $1 million to get the Snyder Cut to where it needs to be? 100%. I think if they pulled like a crowdfunding campaign and they were like, we need to raise like $2 million and we will give you guys the Snyder Cut, I would be like, here's my money. As I'm sure many other people would. Right? Now that's kind of fucked up, isn't it? Whereas studios all like, if you want to see it, you got to pay, but it's got to be up front because we don't trust you guys to actually buy this shit. I think that'd be a thing. So yeah. What do I think about the whole situation involving Cyberpunk 2077 controversy? Removing male and female. I know. There was the if you guys aren't, this is kind of gaming related, but at the same time, we might see something like this eventually in regards to movies and like whatever. But in Cyberpunk 2077, the developers gave you the ability to kind of like select your gender, but even the vessel for your gender. So let's say you identify as a woman, but you want to live in a man's body. So you could have a man's body and a female voice. Or you can identify as a woman or identify as a man. It's really about it. It's kind of a non-traversy. It's all it is. It's a non-traversy. But the people, here's the thing, Anthony. Here's the thing, and I applied this quite frankly to like all of YouTube. Look at who is telling you this information. Look at how they are spreading this information, and then look to see how much of it is just profit for them. And that is always something to keep in mind. You know, there's nothing wrong with putting out content. There's nothing wrong with talking about stuff. But you can always tell when someone is trying to get one over on you. Something to continue. Roman here says, thinks they identify as a paperclip. Awesome. CC, what's Ray and C-3PO possessed by Palpatine? I think it's going to be either I think it's not going to be possessed by Palpatine. Unless Rey puts on a ring early on in the movie. I'm not too sure. I don't think C-3PO, I don't know what's going to happen with that. The red eyes, though, does kind of feel like Sith eyes, doesn't it? It does feel like Sith eyes. It feels like it's one of those things where it's like, well, we've seen this before. But can droids be the Sith? Can droids, can they feel it? Can Sith do possession of inanimate objects? That's a question. Thoughts on the Joker trailer? It looks good. It looks really good. I think one of the biggest problems of the Joker trailer, biggest issues is like the central story isn't really there. In neither trailer did they really tell you the story. And I think that's good marketing to keep a little bit of mystery afoot, to keep a little bit of mystery alive. But at the same time, people also want to know what to expect. And by calling this the final trailer and having it necessarily like not give us a full story, at least setting up a story, it's setting up a character, but not a story. I do think that's a little bit on the bad side. Like the first trailer kind of struck me like that originally. Took me a few more times of watching it to really get it. And I need to do that with this one as well. It's not a bad trailer. It's like, I'm excited to see the movie. I'm hype as fuck. But at the same time, that's kind of how I see it. It's just like, yeah, they're trying. You can tell they're going for that Oscar gold. You can tell that's what's going on. That 100% is what they're going for right now. And it's one of those things. How is it Chapter 2 going to do the melon scene? I don't know what melon scene that is. Vizak, I don't think there's going to be time travel in The Rise of Skywalker. So there's that. What's something from Star Wars EU that I want to see in movies? I never really read the EU, so I'm going to go off for just kind of what I know. I'd love to see Mara Jade, man. I'd love to see Mara Jade. I'd love there to be. I'd love it if The Mandalorian eventually ties into a Luke Skywalker series. Imagine Sebastian Stan, because I think it would be Sebastian Stan, coming off of doing the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and everyone knows him as Bucky Barnes, and then his story kind of wraps up for right now. And then you find out that he's cast as, Luke Skywalker in the years after Return of the Jedi. All of a sudden you're like, God damn, now I'm paying attention. Because what if they do that and they tie that into The Mandalorian? Has anyone ever thought about that? I think it's going to be interesting. Did I hear about Campy having a hard time these past few days? I did, Batman. Yeah, I saw his post tonight. I don't know. I don't know about Campy. I don't know him personally. I hope he's okay. And allow me to just kind of be a pseudo opportunist for a hot minute. But I'm more than willing to take over his time slot. No, but I hope he's okay. Oh, Adrian Mellon, the gay hate crime in the yeah, Jack. That's gonna open the movie. They ain't shifting. They ain't shying away from that. They want that to be in the movie. It's a bold choice. Be very interesting how it works out. Do I think there could be two Rays? Alex Jones Jr. Yes, I do think there could be two Rays. I think there could be clones, or potentially twins, because twins have happened. You know, twins have happened, especially in the canonical Star Wars, like the Skywalkers and stuff, the prophecies. Twins could be a thing. Anything could happen. What do I think about horror in Star Wars? I think that would be really interesting, but it would have to be done the right way. You know, think like Alien, really. Something like they're stuck on a planet. Something's hunting them down, picking them off one by one. They go. You know, Jedi have no power there, or something like that. It could be done. Do I think JJ will do character development? I have no fucking idea. But whatever it is going to be better than The Last Jedi. It really is. I mean, his whole thing about like derailment was interesting. It cracked me up a bit because it's just like, oh yeah, no, episode 8 didn't derail our plans at all. And it's all like, but what were your plans? I mean, yeah, we had to wait a few months to find out, but inquiring minds would like to know. You know, am I familiar with the Star Wars zombie Death Troopers? No. Is that current canon or is that EU? I really need to read. I really need to read the stuff. The other things, whatever they're called, the other books. I haven't turned on Skype yet. Okay, it's EU. All right. I haven't turned on Skype yet. So if anyone's trying to call in, I haven't turned it on. So get through the first little bit. We'll open Skype up. There's also the Discord, which, damn it, it's on my phone. Fuck. Oh my God. That's what I get for not turning the sound off. There we go. It's on my phone. Okay. All right. There we go. That's pretty funny to me, actually. And I can't have my phone anywhere near the microphone because apparently it's causing a problem. All right. There we go. Okay. Move it over there. So we got some people in the Discord, I see. So we'll get to that here in a little bit. I do want to try to keep it maybe a little bit more tight. The conversations are good, but sometimes they do go on a little bit longer. And it's, you know, I lose track of when these things are. So maybe we could keep it a little bit tighter, get more people in. I think it'd be a good idea. So yeah, Broomstick Boy is Star Wars love story. Exactly. Well, penis. Okay. Good for you. All right. So let's bring up Skype here. Okay. So it's on if you want to call back on that one. I can see a timer on the Skype calls. So it's hard to see on anything else. Anyway, let's see here. The horror being that Luke Skywalker is being morbid. I don't think they would ever fuck with that, Ron, to be honest with you. Like, Disney is not going to fuck with that. All right. Wow. Okay. All right. Hey, what's going on, man?
Hi, it's Batman, Superman.
What's going on? You were eager to call in tonight.
Oh, I didn't know it was off. That's why.
I just hadn't turned it on yet, but I forgot it was on my phone. I forget that I have Skype on my phone too, so I was like, "Oh, God damn it!"
Yeah.
So.
About...
What's up?
I wanted to talk about the death of the movie star because I just saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I mean Brad Pitt is at the top of his game, and every time he came on screen, he just had so much movie star charisma, and it made me think how few movie stars are actually left. And one example I'll give you before I pass it on to you for your thoughts is if you look at Chris Hemsworth, his box office outside the MCU is absolute trash. I mean, there's no way getting around it. It's absolute trash. The movie star is dead, and I can't believe it. What are your thoughts?
So okay, so it's a little hard to hear you, so let me just recap. In once I haven't seen Once Upon a Time yet, so but Brad Pitt,
Oh,
top of
but I
his
was just
game.
saying that Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
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 Brad
I
Pitt
know
was
you're
amazing.
using it as an example, yeah. But it's like, but look at Chris Hemsworth in the MCU, he does money. Outside of the MCU, his movies don't do any money. And this
Yeah,
is an interesting scenario because it's true. Movie stars are not there anymore. Like it's not that the movie star is ever going to officially die, but you're not looking
yeah,
at like movies these days. No one is talking about like the latest indie film.
yeah, yeah.
No one's sitting there going like, "Have you seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding?" Starring relative nobodies, but it's a good movie on a $5 million. Like at my theater, we never got the movie, but we talked about it constantly because we were watching it
yeah.
spend 16 weeks in the top 10. And it's a good movie. It's a really good movie. There's a lot of great indie films and they bring a lot of talent with them, but no one fucking watches them. I mean, no, I was reading an article yesterday talking about I saw a headline for it saying that like even indie films now can't be a draw at the box office. No one cares
Yeah.
because everyone just waits for streaming.
Yeah. That,
So
that
I
that's
think
absolutely true. I think what it is it's a combination because people always say, "Oh, it's so difficult to get people to go to the cinema, and cinema costs a lot of money," and that's true. But I don't even think it's about. For example, Godzilla just came out,
yeah, Godzilla
and
was
that's
great.
that's a big move. That's a big screen experience, and nobody went to see it. I think what it is, it's a combination. For example, Godzilla had really crap reviews, so nobody really wanted to pay to see it on the big screen. And if there's
Yeah.
one film you want to pay to see on the big screen, it's Godzilla. So it's a combination. It's almost a premise as well. I mean, look at Blade Runner 2049. It's one of the best sequels ever made, and it's a total flop. Total flop.
Yeah. It's and then now Denis, I can't never pronounce his
Denis
goddamn last.
Villeneuve.
What is it?
Denis
Villeneuve?
Villeneuve.
Villeneuve?
Yeah, that's it.
One of these days I'm going to actually fucking remember that, right? But I'm going to forget. I've already forgotten it. But anyway, yeah, Blade Runner 2049, fantastic movie. I adore that film.
I
And
love
that
it.
guy, and that movie, that guy's doing Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2.
They're gonna flop.
And they're both, yeah, I no, I agree. I really agree. Because for one, Frank Herbert's novels are not going to translate to the current pop culture zeitgeist
Yeah,
we find ourselves in right now. They're just not.
yeah,
And this particular director makes fantastic movies, but
yeah,
ultimately, at the end of the day, he's can't. It's like they're just not going to translate. So I'm looking here that Godzilla King of the Monsters did $385 million box office.
that's
I don't know if that was
ridiculous.
is that worldwide or is that just the states? Because
No,
it's
that is worldwide. That's
that's
worldwide.
worldwide. Well, according to this, it's got a 41% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is just terrible.
That's terrible.
Godzilla King of the Monsters. It did yeah, what Jesus Christ. $170 million gross
Yeah,
385. And then Universal or Warner Brothers is all like, no, we're good, dog. We're good. Like
yeah,
Godzilla v Kong is gonna be like, we already know we're playing this the long game. Like, what long game is that, man?
yeah.
That's
One of
like
the reasons why it doesn't hurt Warner Brothers as much is because Legendary is half the funding. So
yeah,
that's
well,
why.
that and Legendary now is owned by China. So
Yeah,
they're gonna be pumping out money hoping that it does well overseas. I don't know. You figure Godzilla King of the Monsters would do really well in China.
yeah. But that goes back to me saying it's a combination. If the reviews were better, people would have gone out and paid to see it.
I think people are unfortunately getting their. I don't think the reviews matter, to be honest with you. I'm
The
being
last
realistic
Godzilla
here.
had good reviews, and that got 500 million.
Which one?
Got Gareth Edwards Godzilla in 2014. That made
Yeah, well,
500 million.
200. But the thing is though, where were we 5 years ago versus now? Just overall pop culture. Where 5 years ago is a different time. It was totally different time. 20 because what came out in May 2014, right? Because you got to look at what came out around it. May 2014 was there was no Ultron. That was 2015. Which one?
Transformers came out in July 2014.
See, well, yeah. Age of Extinction was fucking god awful, but it made money.
Got a
Lucy came out at the end of July 2014, and that was like number one for 2 weeks in a row. Made a lot of money. What opened May? May 20. Okay, Guardians of the Galaxy was also early August 2014. Did Marvel have an opening May movie in 2014? Captain America, Winter Soldier was April of 2014, and that did real well.
Yeah.
But I mean, but we were just kind of in a different time. There was no DCEU film because Man of Steel came out the year before. It wasn't like it just was a different time. So there was more. I think more movies were spread the fuck out. Now look at this year. Just look at this year. You had Endgame, 2.795 billion. A couple weeks later, Detective Pikachu, which I thought Detective Pikachu would have been $1 billion movie. It wasn't. I was really surprised at that. And because I was out there saying, like, I was beating that drum, it's gonna do $1 billion. God damn it! I was so wrong.
I think the reviews were mixed for that too.
But it was good. It was still good. And then you had. Oh, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. If you've seen Detective Pikachu and you recommend it, hit one in the chat. But one of the things is then you had John Wick Chapter 3, which is like the only movie outside of Endgame that was considered a profit in May. And that was because the movie had I think an under $100 million budget. $170 million for Godzilla. These movies cost too much money. They do. They just cost. And it wasn't the star talent that they didn't have anyone there in King of the Monsters that you could consider was like a box office draw, but that might have also been the problem. Are you going to be a fan of fucking Silicon Valley on HBO and go, I really want to see Thomas Middleditch? That's going to be great. They had Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things, but here's the thing. Had Stranger Things season 3 dropped before Godzilla, maybe that would have made it do better. There would have been that hype. But the hype for Stranger Things season 3 died off almost instantaneously because everybody watched it.
I don't think Godzilla is critic-proof like Michael Bay Transformers movies. I think it needs good reviews to get people to go see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think word of mouth is not what it used to be honest with you.
Right.
And that's unfortunately where we find ourselves is that word of mouth on some of these properties should do a little bit better, but people aren't willing. See, people will invest the money. They'll justify entertainment when it comes to, let's say, Endgame, because they're emotionally invested into Marvel. A lot of people were mixed on 2014's Godzilla, and it's been 5 years. We have to take that into account. It's like, Pacific Rim Uprising was 2017, and the one before it came out
that well either.
That one didn't do very well. China, the first one did well in China.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like, it's just Hollywood is just not there anymore. And yeah, that's showing us that these particular stars. I mean, Ryan Reynolds in Detective Pikachu. You figure it would have done a lot better. Because that is star power, but no, people just want to see him in Deadpool.
Yeah, but he's not a star outside Deadpool. I don't think you can sell a ticket outside Deadpool all that much.
No. You probably can't. And it's like Chris Hemsworth. He tried his hands at a Michael Mann movie, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Right. A fucking Michael Mann movie. but they opened it in goddamn January. Black Hat came out in
Michael Mann did
January.
Heat, didn't he, Michael Mann?
Yeah. He did Heat.
Yeah, I really
You
like
know,
that. I really
and
like
you're just like, oh man, Michael Mann's coming because I really enjoyed Miami Vice, his
that.
2006
Oh,
Miami
yeah,
Vice. I really liked it,
yeah,
and then of course Collateral, I believe, is one of the top films of the past 15 years because it actually came out
yeah.
15 years ago this month.
But
Um,
remember, Chris Hemsworth was also in, I think it was Heart of the Sea, and that was a total flop.
yeah. I mean, like, well, Chris Hemsworth was also in like Cabin in the Woods, which did well when it was released 3 years after they shot it. Or
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they did Red Dawn, and that one did okay. What Chris Hemsworth is going to have to do is go into low budget indie movies in order to rebuild his cred. Or just keep doing Thor until they tell him no, sorry, you're too old, and then take his money and his hammer
yeah.
and go home. And that's probably, honest to God, that's what's waiting for a lot of these people now. Angelina
Yeah.
Jolie today, I saw an article saying, oh, she's showing interest in wanting to be in a Star Wars movie. You know,
Oh, wow.
like, okay, Angelina Jolie, why not go back and do a sequel to Salt? Sure, it's been 9 years, but that was a fun movie. Why not?
I
Why
would
not?
watch it.
Yeah, it's just like, what the fuck? These stars, they don't know. They don't exist anymore. They don't. They're going to TV, and that's because TV is providing them with more opportunities.
Apart from Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio, I think they are true movie stars. Every time Brad Pitt was on screen, I was like, my God, that guy's a star.
Yeah, well, it's one of those. It's one of those. It's
He
one of
just
those
has
things where
movie star charisma.
I'm sorry, what?
He just has movie star charisma.
Yeah, and I think there are people out there that have got it. Like when
Yeah.
I think there are people out there like Harrison Ford's a movie star.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill isn't a movie star. Regardless of him being Luke
No,
Skywalker.
he's not. But Harrison Ford couldn't even help Blade Runner 2049.
Well, again, we're also talking about a sequel to a movie that was that was 25 years old.
Yeah.
Or
That's
2017. Yeah, 25 years old. And to a movie that was a critical and financial flop when it came out 25 years prior, or 35 years prior. Sorry, not 25, 35 years. And it only found itself on home video. But but it's kind of like Boondock Saints. Yeah, I'm gonna bring up Boondock Saints. The movie came out, went to Blockbuster, found its way into frat houses in college campuses, and then it got around because people were talking about it back then. They were sharing it with their friends. Nowadays, there's so much, and I think really there is so much content, right? There's so much content.
video games as well.
And it's a big one. Yeah. It's like there's so much content now. It's like today, for example, I covered the JJ Abrams talking about episode 8. I can't even tell you the two things I talked about today. Let me look here. Oh, another set of It movies, which I don't even know why I talked about that. No, really, I'm not making that up. Like I found the story. It's like the video, I found the article and I'm like, oh yeah. And then like, after I get everything done, I realized that I wanted to talk about Rotten Tomatoes and the 600 new critics.
I'm probably going to get a lot of hate, but I didn't enjoy the first bit. I didn't really like it.
You didn't like it, chapter 1?
No, it's not my kind of thing. I can understand. I don't have problems with it. It's just not for me. I didn't know what I was in for. And when I went to see it, I was like, oh, this is what Stephen King's It is about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I liked it, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, man, hey, I'm going to let you go because I was trying to keep this like under 10 minutes and we're about 15 right now. So,
okay, one last thing.
Yeah.
Did you hear that Martin Scorsese's Irishman is going to be 3.5 hours?
And not in a wide release. So I can't go see it in theaters, which I'm like, God damn it. Because Scorsese, you go see in theaters.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. All right, man. Well, hey, I'm going to let you go, but I'll talk to you again, okay?
Bye-bye.
All right, have a good one. Hey, what's up, 619? You're on.
Hey, Matt, how you doing today, dude?
Today's been a long day.
I feel you.
It's been a long goddamn day. How about you, man? What's going on? What's on your mind tonight?
I'm just like, I've been seeing a lot of things. Oh, a lot of things. I'm slurring my words now. I've been seeing a lot of chatter like on the chat about like was it like Star Wars horror stuff, and people kept bringing up the Death Troopers thing, and I was wondering if you were like if you know anything about that.
No, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. When it comes to anything involving the EU, I'm one of those guys that's like, I overheard someone I know talk about it, and then I take on that mantle of like, I'm an expert. No, I don't know. I don't know much about it, to be fair. But like, that sounds kind of cool. Like zombie stormtroopers. You figure in Star Wars, there's going to be zombies somewhere.
Yeah, and there actually has been zombies, but it was the only like I guess you could say canon piece of like Star Wars media to have zombies was the Clone Wars cartoon because there was an episode involving I think the Genosians where like some of them were zombies and the clone troopers had to like fight their way out of like a hive. It was kind of like aliens, and it was actually pretty cool that they managed to get away with that in a kids show. But other than that, like the idea of Death Troopers, because I have read the book and it's good, but knowing how Disney is with like the Star Wars property, like before like they said that they weren't going to do R-rated content on Disney Plus, I'd be like, you know what, that could be like a cool Disney Plus thing, like have like maybe like a short little horror series or maybe like a short horror film, like involving like a Star Destroyer filled with Imperial zombies, but now that they came out and said we're not going to do R-rated stuff, like oh well, not sure how you can exact. I'm pretty. I guess they could find a way to do it, but it just be like a lot more tamed down. But I will be very, very interested to see if they could tackle on any genres, like other than like like the usual like space thing, or maybe the Western thing, like something else. Something else would be amazing.
I would like to see them tackle different genres. I don't know if I'd like to see them tackle like a comedy or like a romantic comedy.
Oh yeah,
I would be a little bit on that one, to be fair. But then again, it's like, I mean, look, it's not that Star Wars as a franchise is limited in scope, or scale, I should say. It's the books prove that you can tell these stories, but the stories are very sci-fi, space western. That's what the stories are. They take a concept it's a western and they slap on some aliens, and then they call it Star Wars, and that's really about it. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not knocking that. I really want to see a lot of these stories. But I mean, if they're gonna do it, I mean, look at, and I don't want to go back to just going like to Marvel stuff, but look at, Fox and Logan and Deadpool and New Mutants. Those are all experiments, two of which paid off, and we're still not going to get anything out of New Mutants for a while. But that's kind of where things are. Is they should go and explore different things, and they're going to want to do that on Disney Plus in some aspects, or if it's a hardcore thing like a zombie thing, they should do that on Hulu. Could you imagine if they decided to go back and look at the EU and like start adapting some of those stories for like miniseries or limited events?
I would love to see Thrawn.
Well, everybody wants to see Thrawn, and that's the one everyone talks about is Thrawn. And trust me, they've heard you because Thrawn was in Rebels. And so, they've heard you on that, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I think what they're going to do is they're going to use Star Wars as a platform to launch Disney Plus, right? Mm-hmm. By giving us content there, but if the content is good, it can then spread. But if the content's still really strong for Disney Plus, why would they want to do anything that would migrate over to Hulu that is going to take away from getting that monthly income? Unless people have like that because here's the thing, eventually Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN is all going to be bundled into one, Yeah. And they're already doing it. They're already offering it now. But what I mean by that is they're going to be that's just going to be it. It's just going to be that service. We're migrating it down because then they can ultimately charge you more over time, as Disney is prone to do. So we'll have to wait and see when it comes to Star Wars stuff if they really adapt that. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see some of those stories adapted, but I don't think they will. I think they're so kind of like hell bent on their new canon that they don't want like they're. I really do think that Disney in some aspects is like salivating over ending the saga, right? Over wrapping up the saga because they're like, now we're finally free of the shackles of George Lucas.
Yeah, like is are they still gonna do that? Like, was it like an old Republic or like like an old trilogy or something after Rise of Skywalker?
That was entirely speculative. So it was a report saying like, oh, they've just we've heard rumors that they've discussed the old Republic, and you're like, oh, that'd be pretty cool. I believe at that point in time one of the big things was Keanu Reeves is Revan. Yeah. Yeah. Right. And like give us. Here's the thing. I don't want them to do Knights of the Old Republic as like a movie. I want it to be a series. Right. I want it to be a series because there's a lot of stuff there. I would also take it as a trilogy of films if it was telling like a long story. But I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with it. I don't even really think they know what they're going to do with it, but they're just trying to wrap up this and finish it. And then hope to God the Mandalorian is reviewed well. And pray to God that, Cassian Andor is going to be quick on the horizon.
Ooh, like, do people really care about like the Cassian Andor like show?
Apparently. Well, okay, so I have I have a theory about that, and it might get me in a little bit of trouble. But I don't mean this in a negative, because I, for one, am looking forward to the show. I really enjoyed Diego Luna and Alan Tudyk in Rogue One, and I will say this: at first, I did not like Cassian Andor as a character.
Yeah,
especially the beginning of the movie when he killed that dude.
Yeah,
I mean, like you're like, whoa, wait, this guy's a hero? Like, wait a minute, like what the fuck?
This guy's a scumbag.
But it's kind of a scumbag. Like he just killed this dude who was scared in order to protect his ass. And then, of course, the more you kind of think about it, the more you start to kind of break it down and look at it from the abstract and go, or like I'd say maybe the macro, not the micro. And you're like, no, this is war. He's a spy. He has to live. I can understand his actions. The character's actions make sense. I don't like the actions. I would have loved there have been another way, but I get it. And that's one of the things they're going to be maybe working on with this one, but also they are really going to want to appeal to the Latino demographic. And by having that, because that appealed to the Latino demographic. Diego Luna on Narcos, he's known for that. They are wanting to court that group, and that thing is that's fine. That's fine. I think we need to have those honest conversations every once in a while about why certain casting happens. Like, but that shouldn't be a wall, right? Metaphorically speaking. Like right now, I've been watching Mr. Iglesias on Netflix. Right, it's like a 3-camera sitcom, starring Gabrielle Fluffy, right?
Yeah, Fluffy. Yeah,
Fluffy. You're like, fuck, dude, who doesn't love Fluffy? I love that guy. And the show is full diverse cast, right? And it's like, but then they play up different little jokes here and there. It's got Oscar from The Office in it, and then it's got did you ever see Next Friday?
I don't think I have, but like,
like the bad guy from that, like Jacob Vargas, right? No more lactose.
Oh, wait, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah. You know that one from Next Friday, right?
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, right. And I'm like watching, I'm like, oh shit, dude, I love that guy, and he's in the show. So it's like it's a good show, and it's clearly aimed at a specific demographic, but anyone can watch it. And that's fine. And I think that's kind of what they're doing with Cassian Andor. They're trying to play look at the diverse casting in The Mandalorian. Pedro Pascal's clearly not white.
Clearly.
But everyone loved him as Oberyn Martell. And he's great on Narcos. He's a good fucking actor. And then you've got like Giancarlo Esposito and Werner Herzog and Gina Carano and Bill Burr. And like a lot of cool people are going to Carl fucking Weathers. Like it doesn't matter. That's the thing is like when you look at these shows, like they're trying to, you can kind of tell when they're trying to check a box or two, because Hollywood is like really They're really open about that. Like what I mean by that is like it's an open secret. Like you can tell. But if the stories are good, the characters are good, and the writing is good, and everything is good, no one's gonna give a shit. And so when I look at something like, let's say, Cassian Andor, I'm excited because I want to see where it's gonna go, despite whatever their other intentions for it might be.
And you have a real point about like the whole like trying to like appeal to the Latino things because like as a Latino man myself, I went to go see Force Awakens when it first came out with my mother, right? And after we came out the movie, she looked at me and said, "Hey, where was Diego Luna in there?" Like she saw that Diego Luna was in this one, and that was like the sole reason why she went with me to go see it. I'm like, "Oh, Mom, no, it's the other one." And she was like genuinely mad because throughout the movie she was just waiting for Cassian Andor to show up. But I was just like, no, it's not the same one. So no, Disney does. So like, no, it works. Like, it's from the sole fact that if my mother when to go watch it just because Diego Luna or like the possibility that Diego Luna was in there, then I'm pretty sure like other like Latina people are like gonna do the same thing. So I can see what you mean by this. Like we are like a big market, like especially nowadays.
Yeah, actually, interestingly enough, you guys are, I think, the largest demographic for buying movie tickets. I'm not even making that up. Like there was if you recall, I want to say in like when the fuck did that movie Turbo come out?
The snail one?
Yeah, that was I want to say, oh God, I forget when 2000.
I feel like
2013, right? That movie, if you look at that movie, it's a very diverse cast. And they set it in LA. And, even though it's voiced by Ryan Reynolds, there was a very diverse cast in that particular movie. And it was a bad movie, but, it played up to a certain demographic. And that was the thing I noticed at the time. There's a lot of other movies at the time that were trying to do that. But studies had come out that showed that Hispanics very much purchased a lot of movie tickets. But I should say they purchased more frequently as a group. Not for any specific film, I think, but but it's kind of like with African Americans, like when Tyler Perry releases a new movie, like the ticket sales shoot up really well for those. And that's because that is obviously the target demographic. But when I worked and lived in LA and we would show Tyler Perry's, like when he did that movie Four Black Girls, and we had it at my theater, dude, I'm not even kidding you. 75% of the audience was white for like every showing. I'm not even kidding you. I'm all like, oh, what do you want to see today? And they're just like, oh, for Black Girls. And I'm like, okay.
No, okay.
Like, all right, man, enjoy it. Like, oh, because I honestly thought I was going to get yelled at by people. Because I've had that happen before. This is true. You know that movie P.S. I Love You? Or no, sorry, I Love You, Man, with Jim Carrey and Ewan McGregor, where they play gay guys in prison that escape?
Oh, yeah.
Right? I legitimately had a guy come out and demand his money back. And when I asked him to fill out a piece of paper that said, why? He said, it's because of the gay or something like that. I don't like the gay. He wrote it down. I have a picture. Of this. Like, I got to find it. But like, legitimately. So people will get pissed off at the smallest shit. All I care about as a film goer, as a lover of stories, is that the stories are good. That's all I care about. I'm beyond excited to check out the Downton Abbey movie in a couple weeks because I'm a huge Downton Abbey fan. Now that might just be because like I'm 100% European according to my DNA. So it's just like already bred into me to like the upper class, lower class struggle.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, more or less it's like that kind of shit. But anyway, hey, I'm gonna wrap this one up because we're hitting that 15-minute mark, and I've already gotten a couple calls that have come in. But I appreciate you calling in again, and clearly call back anytime.
Oh, real quick, I like to think that the guy who walked out of I Love You, Man, I like to think that he walked out as soon as the scene came on where Jim Carrey was like fucking the shit out of that one dude like in the bed. I feel when he saw that he just had like a mild panic attack and just left.
It was pretty early on in the thing. Yeah, I was sitting there like, what the fuck? Yeah, all right, man. Like if you want your $3 back, you want to know the name $3 Theater came from that theater I worked at because it was a discount theater. So it was $3.
Oh.
That's where the name came from. And so I'm like, all right, man, you want your $3 back? There you go. Take your fucking money. I don't care. It's no skin off my sack. Yeah, yo. I should be like, I'm gay. Here's your money. I rubbed it on my pits. I rubbed it in my boobies. I rolled it up, stuck it up my ass. There you go, sir. Here's the gay. What's funny is we lost like five viewers in that story, so that's great. No, it's all good. It's all good. Anyway, so yeah, thanks a lot, dude, and have yourself a good night.
Hey, you too, man. Have a good one.
Bye. All right. I know one person wanted to call in. I'm actually going to call them because I can.
Hi, please leave a message.
There you go. Okay. Oh, here we go. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, hello there. Is this Matt?
It is. Who's this?
Hi, this is Chris calling from Canada here. I was just tuning into the show, and I don't know if I called in a little bit late here, but I didn't. You probably been getting bombarded with the Marvel questions and Star Wars questions, so I'm gonna add on to some of the Star Wars ones here.
Sure, it's fun, man. It's all fun to talk about it.
100%. Yeah, man. So I'm gonna be talking about the Rise of Skywalker here, and I remember JJ was talking about he's gonna be doing some callbacks to the prequel trilogy and also the original trilogy as well. But what I'm more interested in is what do you think some of these callbacks are going to be in regards to the prequel trilogy? Because as a 22-year-old guy, I have a lot of nostalgia with the prequel trilogy. Yeah. So I was saying, what is your thoughts on what might be included in the Rise of Skywalker with that type of stuff?
I think that what we're gonna get is a lot more. I think the callbacks. Look, I've been saying Darth Plagueis for a long time, so I think the callbacks are gonna be Darth Plagueis. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I think we're gonna call back to like more about the Emperor. Here's the thing. I'm not gonna lie. If they end up on like Naboo, I might lose my shit. I'm not gonna lie. I might lose my shit. I might be like, oh my god, they went back. That's so great. And then be like, oh my god, where's Jar Jar? Give me a Gungan. Show me a Gungan. Like, god damn it, JJ. You know what I mean?
Down to the Gungan like city there, you know.
Yeah. Like, Jar Jar, what are you doing here? Misa Jar Jar Binks. Misa always fuck up. And I really I think if they were going to go back and do anything with the prequel trilogy, and let me just quickly point out. See, here's the thing. You said you're 26, right?
22.
22. Okay. See, I'm 37. So I'm in that weird fucking place where like one of the first movies I ever went to go see was Return of the Jedi, but I was 1. So I don't remember actually seeing it. My mom was like, we took you to go see it and you were quiet the whole time and watched the movie. I'm like, yeah, because I'm not an asshole.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah, no kidding. Jesus, mom. Fuck. Stop talking during the movie. Anyway, no, but it's like but so for me though, growing up was like Star Wars on VHS. Like when my mom was like dropping me off my grandparents and she's like, well, do you want to rent a movie first? And I'm all like, Star Wars, and she's like, okay, well, which Star Wars do you want? And I'm all like, I'm 5. How the fuck do I know? I don't know. I don't know which one is which. And she's like, you want the one with the teddy bears, right? And I'm all like, teddy bears, or I might have said Ewoks because, I know my shit. And so she knows she does. She doesn't know which one. This is total 1980s video store mom shit. She goes, is it this one? And she grabs the box for Empire Strikes Back. And I'm like, yeah, because how the fuck would I know? Right? Like, how would I know at 5 years old? And so she rents it, and we go to my grandparents' house, and they're like, oh, you want to watch Star Wars again? I'm all like, yeah. And then we watch. I'm like, where are the Ewoks? I don't want to see no fucking Tauntaun, right? Like, but the thing is, I grew up with that shit on VHS. Or even one time, my mom was single for a while. She dated this dude in the Navy who was like a Navy recruiter in Portland. Which I never really thought was kind of odd that a dude was in the Navy living in Portland, but whatever. And so one night they went on a date, and he got his roommate to watch me. And I'm like 6, dude. I'm like 5. I'm young. I'm like legit young. And they got his roommate, who was like another Navy guy, to like watch this kid. Which is, now that I think about it, now that I like 30 years have passed, it's kind of creepy. Yeah. And it's like, well, not really creepy. It's bad parenting on my mom's part. Why would you leave me with this guy? Anyway, it worked out well for me. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that, because you know what he had? He had Star Wars on fucking Laserdisc. So we watched
Golden.
A New Hope on Laserdisc, and then we still had some time to kill, and I wasn't tired yet, and I was a little bit upset because I was young. My mom wasn't back yet, and I clearly didn't know this guy who was watching me. It's really weird. He had free candy written on the fridge. But anyway, he goes, oh, I have more Laserdiscs. Do you want to watch? Do you like Star Trek? And I'm like 5 or 6. How the fuck would I know? I'm like, sure. I'm afraid,
Sure.
is it Star Wars? And I'm like, Ewoks or something. He's like, well, I don't have Ewoks, but I've got Tribbles. So he showed me the Trouble with Tribbles episode on Laserdisc. I remember that night pretty clearly. It's been like 30 some odd years, but like I remember that night pretty clearly.
Yeah.
So like
right.
for me, my experience growing up has always been original trilogy, but always from the perspective of small screen VHS, right?
Right.
You lucky bastard, you got to grow up with a whole new trilogy when you were younger.
I know.
You know,
Exactly.
but then again, you
A little
also,
spoiled.
you got a little bit spoiled because you got to hate the prequel trilogy and then really appreciate the original trilogy. No, I'm kidding. But I would say like as an older fan, calling back to the prequel trilogy makes a lot of sense. I think it makes a lot of sense to do that. And to kind of like, bring it all home, because he's got to bring it all home. And there's not much there I think they're really going to be able to do. But I would not be surprised if they touch on a bit more of the Clone Wars and like what happened with Palpatine with that. And maybe, like, okay, let me just again kind of throw, if he's going to harken back to the prequel trilogy, I'm thinking one word, and anyone here can follow along: Camino. Camino, right? Clone facility. Oh, I lost him. I didn't even know I lost him. Thanks for calling, Canada guy. I forget your name. I'm sorry, but I think I think you're pretty good. Let's see here. Confessions After Dark, 100%. Phantom Rider, that explains a lot about me. What? Okay. Hey, what's going on, Lewis?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see what I could argue with you about. I was listening and I couldn't find anything, but then you brought up Diego Luna and Pedro Pascal. I'm going to disagree with you this time. I do actually notice when they try to do a check mark, but I don't think with Lucasfilm, I think that stuff with Hispanics, hiring Hispanics, I don't really feel like it's a check mark actually, but I do kind of feel that way when Disney Pictures does it. I feel that the reason Pascal was chosen is because the Mandalorian's kind of like a rugged Western, and that's what he looks like. And then the Cassian Andor thing is like a revolutionary era in Star Wars. So it's like, he looks like a revolutionary guy, with the beard and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so,
I can get that. I don't want to make it sound like I'm not trying to like down talk any of them or anything else, obviously. Like,
Matt,
it's
real talk. It's real talk. You know what I'm saying?
Real talk, yeah.
So like, yeah, I like to see Hispanics. I'm Hispanic myself. I like to see Hispanics get roles, right? But not in a check mark wise. And I do see through that. Like when I see it, like if you look at Disney Plus's lineup in Marvels, there's not one Hispanic, except maybe in that what's it, Eternal? Is it Eternals? What's it called? The one that has Zelma Hayek in there.
Yeah, the Eternals. Yeah.
Yeah, but they literally brought like 100 people on stage, or announced, between announcing and brought 100 people on stage, and there was like 2 Latin people there. And in the show that has a Latin person in there, all the lady talks about is like, I'm going to be the president because I'm Latina. And it's like, that gets annoying.
That diary
that's a check mark.
The Diary of a Female President.
Yeah,
that
the only
show
that
what
really
the
had a Hispanic
fuck was
representation, that's all she talks about. That's annoying to me.
Oh yeah. You guys saw like a trailer for that, didn't you?
Yeah, my memory got wiped right after that.
Oh my God, that
I
was
lost an IQ.
Yeah, that when because I was only watching the stream, and they come out and they're like, oh, diary, and like, oh, that's interesting. Look at that. I'm like, oh, it's going to be Gina Rodriguez is going to be the president. Oh, okay, that could be something. And then you see like the logo, and you're like, oh my god, the diary's written in crayon. Oh no, it's the 12-year-old. Like what the?
That being said, look, I love the lineup for Disney Plus looks like it's fun overall. So I'm not gonna complain too much about that.
Yeah,
but
no, I know you already got
think,
your 3 years worth. So
yeah, I already have 3 years. So I'm either way. I have to say I like it, and yeah, I was invited there, and Disney did not hook me up. So I don't know.
that's kind of funny, isn't it? That they didn't hook you up.
I don't know if they hook people. I don't care. I just want it because I'm a fan. I'm a fan first, then a reporter with a lot of things. And then if I become a reporter on everything, then you don't enjoy it, So
Yeah.
I'm a Star Wars fan. Cool. I mean, I'm cool if I get to interview the cast, but if I don't, hey, look, I'm good with the fans. I love Star Wars. That's it. Period.
Yeah, no, I very much like where Star Wars is headed. I think they're headed in the right direction. I'm looking forward to seeing this stuff. I mean, of course, if it sucks, we'll definitely talk about it. But based upon
and the thing is, you see these YouTubers, reaching to criticize it. I think Kathleen Kennedy, the latest. I've been kind of busy these past few days, but Kathleen Kennedy says that she welcomes constructive criticism, and I'm praising. And yeah, well, that's cool. I could tell because she brought in Obi-Wan, she brought in Cassian Andor, which is that show Rogue One. The movie Rogue One is the most highly regarded Star Wars movie in Disney. And then she's bringing up that show, but she's calling it The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. And if you don't think she's authorizing all this, you're delusional. She's, John Favreau said he pitched the idea to her. She could have said no, but she was like, yeah, this sounds good. You know what I mean?
Well, I also think that Jon Favreau, having the success he's had at Disney with, Jungle Book and obviously with Lion King coming up, as well as Iron Man, and the fact that it was him and Filoni that went to her about it, I would argue that there probably wasn't there wasn't a chance in hell that it wasn't going to be, picked up. Because also Iger pretty much went to her like, I'm speculating, but Iger says like, well, yeah, you should definitely give me some Star Wars content that's going to bring in the people. And the fact that The Mandalorian is aimed for a larger, or I should say for an older crowd is going to be a big factor with it. So, again, getting the parents in, right? It's going to be like, I think The Mandalorian, from my honest opinion, I'm calling it now, that when they do The Mandalorian show, it's going to air at 10 p.m. I think it's going to be a 10 p.m. show because it's not going to drop at midnight. I don't think they're going to do midnight. I don't think so. I think they're going to pick a time. Because that's when people are going to be like 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. something like that. It's gonna be released at like East Coast time at night. Like Game of Thrones. I think they're gonna copy the Game of Thrones style. But it could be later. It could be later because the show is aimed at a more mature audience. And to quote Kevin Smith when talking about the noggin, like the N. Remember that channel? With like Degrassi and stuff. Oh well, he goes, yeah, you don't like him because I don't know why. You don't like fun, Lewis.
He's a nice guy. But...
No, but he goes like the quote I like to use every once in a while is, "It's 9 p.m. on the noggin. Time to put away the fucking puppets." And that's kind of what's going to boil down to. 10 o'clock, 9, 10 o'clock's going to roll around, and it's going to be like, there's going to be a little on Disney. It's going to pop up and go like, "Hey, are your kids asleep yet? They should be. Let's get ready. It's time to fuck." Or something like that. They're going to let you know. They're going to let you know that it's time to put away the puppets. That content's going to be there. But I think there's going to be a time. I think they're also going to pick it as a specific time in order to make sure the servers can handle it. To be fair.
Quick question, because no one's brought this up. I was going to actually make a video on it, but you know what? What the hell? I'm too tired to. No one talked about Little Mermaid. at Disney at
Um,
D23.
yeah, was there like there was a mention.
No, there was zero, man. Zero.
No, no. Well, on the it was Entertainment Weekly when they talked to Aquafina. They were like, "So, are you going to be in the Little Mermaid?" And then she's like, "Well, it's not confirmed, but like, yeah." She basically said, "Yeah."
That's not part of the official presentation. That's because what they do, and you probably know this, but maybe our some of the audience doesn't. But what they do is they do the presentation, and then they walk out of the stage and they do a red carpet. And those questions are different, but as far as like the script and there was no Little Mermaid, and that's kind of weird, right? Or is that really far off?
I still think that there's been a fair amount of controversy surrounding.
But they should not have been to the controversy though.
It's
I mean, if they're gonna do the movie, they gotta just do the movie and forget what people. I mean, if there's real haters, they just gotta forget it or just don't make the movie. I find it kind of weird that they didn't mention it.
I don't, because it's not coming out anytime soon. So
when is it coming out?
2021.
Yeah, but well,
here's the thing is I don't think they wanted to mention it because I don't think they wanted to bring up the controversy.
That's not cool. You shouldn't. What? Okay, so the controversy that the main character doesn't look like a traditional Ariel. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they should not been to.
But they also haven't announced that Melissa McCarthy is playing Ursula. That's been a rumor, but they haven't come out. Yeah, there's no confirmation that she's Ursula yet.
Well, I don't know. You're telling me it's confirmed. Yeah,
I don't believe it's confirmed. No, because the last thing I see here is June.
I thought it was.
June. Hold on, July 30th. People, Melissa McCarthy fuels Ursula casting rumors. So the thing is the only confirmed cast member we have is Haley Bailey as Ariel. That's the only confirmed that we have. Aquafina as Scuttle, nah, she ain't saying. Melissa McCarthy as Ursula, nah, she ain't saying. What was it? Harry Styles was up for Prince Edward. He backed out. That was a report.
That's the only real controversy, if you ask me.
Because he's gonna date a 15-year-old. I don't know. We're not Grace Randolph.
No, not that. Come on. But she's 19. Okay, so in real life, the actress is 19. He's 25, and people are freaking out. Well, not people, but someone that has a loud voice is freaking out because of the age difference. People on the chat, is it okay for a 20-year-old to date a 19-year-old? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Whatever. Is that weird? I don't know. I haven't been 25 for a long time, so I don't remember what I did. So I don't remember much of yesterday. So in that case, especially since the actor looks much younger than what he is for real, and she looks a little older too, right?
I don't know, man. I don't really even care. I mean, I'm not against. If you could go to war, then you could date a 25-year-old. There, I said it. Kill me, you could go into the army, right, at 18? Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And you could date a 25-year-old guy. Sue me. Sue America.
Sure. I don't.
So if you're going down for your country, you could date someone a little older than you. It's legal. All right. Anyways, Matt.
You kind of lost me on that one, to be honest. That's okay.
You don't want to roll here. Anyways, I want to do my pitch. Everybody press like on this feed. Matt has been really consistent. He works very hard behind the scenes. He drinks a lot of those power. So
I drink a Rock Star, and then I've recently rediscovered my liking of Diet Mountain Dew, which is terrible for me.
Oh, Mountain Dew's bad, but it's good.
No, Diet Mountain Dew. Diet Mountain Dew. Diet. It's not even any better.
It has all that chemical to make it taste good. But
everything's got chemicals in it.
Huh?
Never mind. Finish your pitch.
Hey, so could you let me pimp you out, man?
Yeah.
Get some super chats here. Okay, so if you guys donate or super chat $2, Matt could buy another Diet Mountain Dew. If you do 5, you can get the extra large one, and if you do $10, you get a Del Taco meal and add
Dude,
the Baja
off
Blast.
topic.
That's
Off
also
topic. I live in Olympia, Washington. Right, you would not expect there to be a Del Taco here. I just discovered that they just put in a Del Taco.
Oh, sorry, Taco Bell. Same shit.
Whoa. Hold on. Don't you dare besmirch Del Taco by saying that it's the same as Taco Bell. Now, I don't mind
like
Taco Bell.
Better?
Yes, I like Del Taco better. You get their crinkle cut fries, you put some Del Scorcho sauce on that shit. You clearly, you do not understand what you have by having infinite Del Tacos in California. You have infinite Del Tacos. You also got like infinite like mom and pop taco shops, which are way better anyway. But fuck you on that one. But no, you're like, no, Taco Bell, whatever, man. If you want to run for the border, eat Taco Bell. Or as I said today on Twitter, hell is just a Chipotle's bathroom.
You're out of control, man. You're out of control. I'm gonna hang up right now. I'm gonna be listening.
Okay.
And people, don't forget to call in. Matt's gonna eventually he's gonna do a 6-hour show.
No.
But you gotta encourage him by calling in, sending in those super chats. Talk to you later, Matt.
All right. Thanks, man. He's my cheerleader. I had to do it. Anyway, so I couldn't sound more European the way I say taco, probably. Okay, we got a couple calls. Hey, what's going on, 778? How you doing? You're on the air.
Hey, it's Chris. I'm back, buddy.
Oh, hey, what's up, man? Okay. Okay.
Sorry, man. As I said, I live in Canada, so Skype decided to cut off the call halfway through. He's like, oh, yeah, you need to pay $5 to keep this going. So, I did.
Well, I have a Discord. So just so we're clear, and people who call in from like out of the country, I don't want you spending money if you don't have to. Like you can, you could also I can call unlimited calls to Skype from Skype into Canada as well. So it's like I could also just call you and save you money or Discord. So I don't
It may have been my ex-girlfriend's credit card, so we'll roll with that one.
Well, I mean, as much as I don't like credit card fraud, wait, did she dump you or did you dump her?
It's kind of mutual, but yeah, it is what it is.
Oh, well, see, I can't back that. I can't back that. You gotta be the victim so I can say, fuck her then.
I'm bringing you down with me, Matt.
Oh, great. Now I'm complicit in credit card fraud. Thanks a lot, Canada. Okay, so you were talking about before your country cut you off.
Yeah.
You were talking about the prequels. Now let me ask you this:
right.
What is it about the prequels that you would like to see brought up in episode 9?
Perfect. So this is what I was want to get to. The thing that I found super interesting was actually when we went to Rogue One and we went to Vader's castle in Mustafar. I thought that was the coolest thing ever because I always thought, even though Mustafar always had that historical significance of where, basically Anakin became the physical embodiment of Darth Vader right there. That was where it all went down. And so when we went back to that within the Disney, the Disney period, I was like, damn, that's pretty hype. Like, that's super cool. So what I was hoping to see was maybe Kylo Ren was able to go back to Mustafar and maybe see an abandoned Vader's castle, look for some sort of artifacts, whether it's a holocron or wherever that may be. I thought that would be really cool. The second thing I thought would be really sweet to see, it would be a Force ghost of Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker. Now, there's always the controversy that it should have been the original, it should have been, David Prowse being Anakin Skywalker, but, that's a whole other story right there. But I would be cool to see both Mustafar and also seeing Anakin as a Force ghost.
Yeah. I think Mustafar is probably going to be what we get, to be fair, because it was also in Rogue One, so there's kind of this continuing idea there. Mm-hmm. Never mind. Well, here's the thing. Here's my question. Because we see it in, I don't know if you saw the footage coming out of D23, not the featurette that they showed, but there was 4 or 5 seconds of other footage from a little sizzle reel Did you happen to see
No,
that floating
no,
around at all?
I actually didn't. I actually never knew about that.
Yeah, no one ever really talked about it, but it was out there. If you go to Star Wars leaks on Reddit, you should be able to find it. But they showed that Kylo has the mask again, and what I want to know is how Kylo got the mask, and was like, did Snoke present that to him? See, this is what we need. We need the backstory,
Right.
of how fucking Kylo became Kylo. Like there needs to be like a Kylo Ren prequel movie or
No,
something.
100%.
It's like because I understand J.J. Abrams and the mystery box setup and everything else from Force Awakens, and then Ryan Johnson totally just
Yeah.
on whatever. But it's like they've got to start off the Rise of Skywalker by literally taking everyone's complaining about time travel. Fuck time travel. They need to take us back and just show us like key integral scenes, right? Like of how these certain things happened, told from like the perspective of like this ancient legend thing, like the opening of Lord of the Rings. Just treat it like the opening of Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, when they give us the story of the rings, and then we're like, okay, now we're caught up, almost like a TV show where it's all like previously on Star Wars.
Exactly. Well, they have the opening credits there, but that doesn't really do us that much justice. That we want to see something tangible there, like something that we us the audience can really connect with, especially if you're not necessarily a massive Star Wars fan, and you like that would definitely help the greater audience right there to really clue in and see what the hell's going on here.
Yeah, I think they need to do that. If this movie is like 3 hours long, give me 30 minutes of a backstory. Treat it like Warner Brothers treated the the Killing Joke by giving me 40 minutes of Batgirl side story in order to kind of set up the Killing Joke. So now I have a better understanding and better context of what it is they're trying to put Batman through. Give me something like that.
Right.
Now people out there might disagree, and that's fine. That's fine. And so, and that's cool. I think, but I mean, this is all theories anyway. I just want it to be a good movie. Now, let me ask you this: as a young man at the age of 22, and having grown up with the prequels kind of being your jam, how excited are you for Episode 9? Are you excited at all?
I'm excited, but as you've been saying in your previews, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
Going into The Force Awakens, I really liked it. Yes, I will agree it hit many of the same beats as A New Hope. But at the same time, I was okay with that because they really needed to introduce all these new characters and then add on to the previous story of the old trilogy and bring it up to date. So when we started with The Force Awakens, I was cool with it. I really enjoyed it. I thought the character development was really good. I liked the chemistry between everyone. That was fine with me. Fast forward to The Last Jedi. Now, the amount of hype I had going into that was unreal. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be sick. Like, we all saw the trailers and like, damn, this looks really good. Like, I'm really excited. But then I remember I went to the movie, I went and saw it in theater. I went and saw it opening night with my friends. And when I came out of the theater, I was like, yeah, it was cool, but like, I'm a little confused. Like, I was so flabbergasted that Luke just disappears out of nowhere. It's like, hey, let's understand you have to subvert your expectations, but dude, what the fuck? So now going into the Rise of Skywalker, I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm happy it is JJ that's at the helm directing this. Now I don't remember, is he writing it as well? I can't remember.
He co-wrote it with Chris Terrio.
Okay. And then Kasdan did
Solo with his son.
Solo.
Yeah,
and
Kasdan
did episode 7 as well? Okay, right, okay.
Yeah. And I think Kasdan, having worked on the original trilogy, was maybe pushing the nostalgia a little bit too hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing is though, I can still go back and watch The Force Awakens and have a good time.
Oh, 100%.
Like that's the thing. I can't bring myself. And I talk about The Last Jedi a lot. Okay, I do. Right. I admit that. I do. Which means I have to keep fucking living it all the time. I have to keep reliving this movie. I have to keep thinking about Canto Bite. And I just can't. Yeah. And it's like I just Canto quit Canto Bite. Like I want to. Like, I would really, really like to. I'm so desperate for this movie to come out so I can finally like put this chapter of my life behind me.
House closure there, yeah.
Just get finish. Let me finish watching the saga so I can just go home and then go have my girlfriend go, was it good? And be like, yes.
Yeah.
As
I'm
compared to The
satisfied.
Last Jedi, which is when I came home from watching, because I walked out of the movie and I saw it with my dad. My dad's like, "Oh, did you like it?" And I'm all like, "Yeah, I think so."
I think so, yeah, dude.
And then he's like, "Yeah, I liked it too." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then I get in my car and I drive home. I have about a 15-minute drive home, and I'm sitting there in silence, just kind of pondering over my thoughts. And I was like, what the fuck did I just watch? It starts kind of building up on everything else, right?
Right.
And then I get home and my girlfriend's there. She's just putting our newborn daughter to sleep, and she's like, "Oh, how'd you like The Last Jedi?" And I just kind of I went off on it a little bit. I'm like, I should go do my review. I started just going off on the movie, and I started doing my review of it.
Right. I remember your review too. I remember that. I remember one of your reviews, one of the first ones I watched actually.
Yeah.
I remember that. And I remember when I saw it, I had a couple totes of a blunt with my friends. So, I thought it was a really cool experience going. And then when it started wearing off, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of weird, man. Like, I don't know what was going on. And then I stumbled across yours and a few other people like John Campion and like all the guys from Collider. They were a little bit more pro The Last Jedi. Like, yeah, it was really cool direction they took it in. But then I was like, it just didn't really sit right with me, man. That's the thing. Like, it didn't really feel right. And I understand, like, they have to, first, they have to evolve the story in some form, right? Whether they make a few changes here and there, but there was too much change to it. And that it didn't really feel like Star Wars for me.
Yeah. No, it didn't. It felt like there was no wonder about it. It's like they only eat Crate. I thought Crate was kind of cool. Mm-hmm. I like the crystal foxes are pretty cool.
Yeah.
But then you go to, again, Canto Bight. I just keep going back to fucking Canto Bight because you've got like that, because the alien that calls him out, that narcs him out, right?
Right, the parking guard guy, right? Yeah.
Yeah. You know who that was? That was Joseph Gordon-Levitt with a weird Kentucky accent.
No fucking way.
Yeah, it was him. He was like, "Oh, but they parked on the beach. My property values are going to go down. One of them's black."
I would have never expected that.
And like like that was what it was. His whole motivation was Finn was black. That's all it was. It was just racial profiling is all it really was. Like they parked on a beach. Like this is what I don't get. It's a casino planet, and you're telling me a casino planet doesn't have a parking garage?
Yeah.
Is there any casino ever that doesn't have a massive parking garage? Like they're known for, like, I used to seriously, like there's a bunch near me and they just built a new one. And my dad works, in the casino industry. And he's like, "Oh yeah, that one's going to have like 1,600 spaces in their casino, in their parking lot." I'm like, "Wow, that's a lot." He's like, "Oh, that's nothing. This one over here has got like 2,400. And I'm like, "Why the fuck do you know that?" For one. And two, why do I find that interesting and compelling? I don't know why, but I do. And that's, again, so many things, just so many things that just really, I haven't watched Ivan Ortega's cut of the film. I know he did his cut. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my rant on Star Wars got me a lot of subscribers. It did. It did. That rant fucked me, dude. I made a lot of money on that rant.
Yeah, it's funny that because I discovered your channel just before The Last Jedi came out, and yeah, I remember that. I remember when like I was saying, I vividly remember watching your videos post your first viewing of The Last Rise, whatever it's called, the fucking episode 8, and yeah, it's insane, man. Like your channel's grown rapidly in the last year since I've been watching.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, it took a hit. It took a hit about a year ago. I lost about 3,000.
Oh.
And but hey, I'm up about 10K, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
I know. Here's the thing when it comes to this channel. Like, for one, I love doing it. Mm. I do. I love doing it. Like, I'm always trying to think of new ways, like, to do content. That's why I jump in between like camera and no camera type stuff. I'm always trying to think of ways to like get you guys a lot of context. I'm a very talkative person. I like to talk about stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was watching like Collider live today for the first time in like fucking, I don't know, whatever. And I'm just like, I'm more interesting than all of those people combined.
No doubt.
Because for one, like, I mean, just you listen and it's like they go off topic for like me and Lewis went off topic for like a couple minutes to talk about Del Taco, but that's a worthwhile thing because it's
Yeah.
Mexican food and it's amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like it's just I don't know. I listen to a lot of these shows and it's like I don't. There's no energy with a lot of these shows.
Yeah. Now,
You know,
I
and if you
always
listen to
heard-
Campia, you're just going to hear him breathe the entire time. So
Yeah, the thing is, the thing I enjoy about your channel is because I've always noticed I used to watch Collider and John Campy, even when he was back at Collider. I always felt like there's a bit of like obviously Collider there's a corporation behind there, but I always found that there's a corporate message that they're trying to spit out all the time, and there's always a bias for certain things, and they can't say certain things because they are that corporation. So that's the kind of thing I enjoy with your channel, kind of independent. You can say whatever's in your mind, and you don't necessarily have so much of a bias towards certain topics.
oh, dude, I get called a shill all the time. All the time I get called a shill. People are just like, oh, Matt's just a shill. Like, for what? Like, what am I a shill over? And they're like, you like Disney Star Wars. And I'm all like, I enjoyed 3 of the 4 films released, as well as the animated show Star Wars Resistance. And I'm openly optimistic, cautiously optimistic for the next bit of things coming down the pipeline. But I'm also going to sit there and approach it from a positive perspective.
Right.
And they're like, did your check clear? And I'm all like, if my check cleared, I wouldn't be up here going like, yo, y'all want Sports Streamlabs? Like, like, trust me. I could make, oh my God, I'll be real with everyone. Like there's 40 people watching right now. So if I was clearing a check, I'd probably be getting a lot more people watching. Actually, no, this is true. If I pushed certain agendas, if I approached everything from this is bad, this is negative, this is terrible, you're bad for liking it, it's all garbage, I would make a lot more money. I would be making so much more fucking money if I told you guys bullshit. If I did, if I went against who I am as a person and was feeding out that shit. I will rage on something if I feel it's worth raging on. Like I got really, really, really mad at the Access Media for trying to claim that like trolls were trying to, bring down Captain Marvel's Rotten Tomatoes score when you couldn't even do, like they're lying to you to push a narrative.
Yeah,
just
right.
like the media was lying to you about Ghostbusters 2016. But then what you've also got are people on the other side that Brie Larson so much as farts in just any general direction. And there's like 30 videos calling her the worst person in the world. She's a cunt. She's a moron. She's terrible. And you're like, but why so much vitriol for this person who you don't even fucking know? Like it wasn't like, Brie Larson straight up came over to your house and like took a dump in your Cheerios. It was none of that. But but the thing is, all those people too, and they will all admit, oh, well, I'm just going to monetize the outrage from the left. I'm just going to build up outrage, right? They build up outrage and then they monetize it, because what they do is they play on it's a tactic used in politics, like fear mongering for the most part. They make you feel something, you may not know what it is. They kind of hone in on a little bit of it, and then they direct it towards something, and then they build it up and they build it up and they build it up, and then they make it this massive beast, right? This massive terrible thing.
Right.
But they're the ones who are the ones calling it out. So therefore, in this particular scenario, they're the good guys. I hate to break it to you. A lot of the fandom menace, I'm just going to be honest here. You are the fucking dark side. If we're talking about it honestly, they're the dark side. Instead of talking about it from the perspective of like, let's find a solution to the problem, it's nothing but like, people are cunts, people are dicks, people are assholes. That's all it is. Right. Yeah. Okay. And I'll be honest, like I did a video saying like Disney Plus saves Star Wars. Nerdrotic, who's got way more subs than me, gets way more views than me, put out a video the other day saying, no, Star Wars isn't saved. I'm all like, why don't you fucking get me on your show and actually debate me on this shit?
Yeah,
or call into this show, which I do 4 nights a week, and the number's fucking open. You can call in here and you can have a conversation with me over this shit, but they won't do it. They won't do it because they don't want to. And I personally believe that they don't want to actually engage in that kind of conversation. Because here's the thing. Look, I'm going to quote me a little Marianne Williamson. I don't know how much you follow American politics because you're, Canadian, and that's not real life.
A little bit. No,
but Marianne Williamson says like, she says, I'm going to win with love. All right. She said that I'm going to win with love. And now granted, I've worked for Marianne Williamson, and I'm not making that up. I did. And so she's kind of a weird person, but she's not wrong. She's not wrong. When we're talking about genre entertainment, right? We're talking about wanting to love the stuff that we're talking about. And I'm sorry, when I see nothing but negativity about every single thing involving a franchise, whether it's Star Wars, Star Trek, Game of Thrones, by people that are out there acting as the arbiters of this fandom, of like the voices for this fandom, and all they do is talk shit about every little aspect. It doesn't matter what it is. And then have the audacity to go, we're the fans. No, fuck you. Fuck you. You're not the fans. You're not the fans.
Right.
A fan can be critical of something and still go back and go like, yeah, you know what? This part kind of sucked, but overall, you know what? Let's look forward to see what comes next. Right. I don't watch Midnight's Edge After Dark anymore because that's all they do. And I've told them this directly. And it's like, I used to listen to you guys all the time. And then all it is just like Star Trek Discovery bad. Yeah, it's not that great, but it's like, you know, it's just, that's everything you talk about is that. And granted, I rag on the Last Jedi constantly. However, and this is my defense, I'm always looking for something to be good.
Of course, yeah.
And I do say frequently that it has an amazing score.
Oh,
it's got
definitely,
insane visuals, and it's directed well. But just the story is bad. What we're talking about here are people that have found a cottage industry of negativity, and it drives me up the wall. So here's the thing: if I wanted to play into that, if I wanted to tell you, if I wanted to lie to you about who I am, I'd be making a lot more goddamn money and have a lot bigger channel than I do. That's not who I am. I've never been that way. I even got into this with my own therapist about this like a few months ago. I'm not even kidding you. Like we got into it and she's like, no, I can see that you can't do it. I can't do it. I just physically cannot. I will be that contrarian asshole. You know, I will be the one to push back a little bit because I don't feel I don't feel a lot of people are. I feel people are afraid of the fandom minutes. I do. I think some YouTubers are absolutely afraid of ever criticizing them because of how hardcore they get. And they do. Some of them get real hardcore.
Right.
But now we're in this position where what if Star Wars is now going to become good again? Right?
Right. Yeah.
What's going to happen now? And that's what I'm waiting for. I don't know if it's going to be good. I can't speak to the future. I don't have fucking tea leaves or magic
exactly.
or nothing.
Exactly.
But I know, but that's how I view it. And the thing is, like, I don't watch their commentary. I don't watch these channels, man. I don't, because I don't want to invite that negativity into my fucking life. I got to deal with it enough in the goddamn comments when their fans come over. Like this one dude, I'm bitching, but I'm going to complain. There's a guy in my Discord, nice guy, who will watch like a Geeks and Gamer video or a quartering video, and he gets worked up over the smallest shit. And then he comes into my Discord and he shits all over the place. You know, everything's a shill. Like he thinks John Campea is a shill. He thinks Comic Book Cast is a shill. You know, like, and it's like, but then he just starts making up things. And I'm like, where did you get any of this information? Like none of that is here. And then it's like, but it's always from one of these videos that is rarely ever based in anything other than just what's presented in front of you. No deep critical thought about where things come from. No real history knowledge of the industry or who a person is or something, right? Like, for example, everyone last week, Sony Spider-Man, right? All that shit. And then you've got Joan, you know, Stan's daughter, Joan C. Lee, JC Lee comes out. And she's like, well, I back Sony. Then all of a sudden everyone's like, well, fucking Stan Lee's daughter did it. And it's like, yeah. Have you looked into who she is, by the way? You know, do you know one of the guys that she helped put in charge of Stan was this Kiva dude, whatever his name is, who's currently being charged with 5 counts of elder abuse.
Oh.
Right? And she was his friend. His friend. She helped get him in that position because he ran point for Stan. And he was a collectible guy, and they were taking vials of Stan's blood and using it to autograph Black Panther comics in a fucking convention. I'm not kidding you.
That's pretty wild.
And it's pretty wild shit. And then she turned on him when things became public and people started like Kevin Smith was talking about it. She turned on him, and he's even said that she threw him under the bus. And yet she comes out and says, oh, Sony good, Marvel bad, or Disney bad, because nobody called her when Stan Lee died. Yeah. Is it because perhaps maybe no one fucking liked you?
Yeah.
You know, you're telling me that the people who worked closely with Stan Lee, with Marvel for years, setting up these, they wouldn't know what's going on? Dude, it's Hollywood. Everyone talks in Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah. They always spew out some bullshit rhetoric, and then it's to do a bait and switch, and there it is.
Anyway, I apologize for my rant
It's all good, man. No, I enjoyed it.
You're
I
like,
like the insight.
and here's the funny thing. You're gonna get a kick out of this one. I'm first generation Canadian American, so like
Oh, no
that's part
way.
of where mine. Yeah, yeah. My mom was born in Thunder Bay, Ontario, so I like
Right
to
on.
joke about that. I like to joke about that. Like I'm the son of an immigrant. People go like, "Oh, really? Where's your mom from or family from?" I'm like, Canada, and they're like, "Canada doesn't count." I'm all like, "Fuck you, it does.
It certainly does.
It absolutely does." You know, and then so it's yeah. Anyway, it's good to. I'm gonna let you go because I'm gonna get some other people. There's been some other people trying to call.
Oh no, dude, I enjoyed this. Don't worry, man. I appreciate you taking my call, man. Yeah,
No,
I'm,
really.
I'm from Vancouver, BC, so I'm just north of the border of you right here. So,
Oh,
yeah.
dude, nice, man. I really want to head up there. I do. I'm in, I'm a little south of Seattle.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
never
north
been
of
I've
it,
never
yeah,
been to Vancouver,
yeah.
but I've been to Victoria a couple times, and I'd love to
Okay,
go
yeah.
back and do both because I think my girlfriend is like, "How would you feel about moving to Canada?" And I'm just like, "Well, for one, I'd like to return to the motherland, so yeah.
Yeah.
And two, this is true, and this is just a little secret. I get paid through an American company, so if I were to go to Canada, my money would then be worth more in Canada
Oh,
because I
100%,
get
man. 100%. Yeah.
because you guys, I mean, if you ever want to joke about the wage gap in America, apply it to Canada versus America, where it's 77 cents on a Canadian dollar to every one American
Oh,
dollar. You
no,
guys are the true victims of the
100%.
wage.
Yeah, man. It's moving to Vancouver. It is expensive as fuck to live here. It's insane.
It
You have the
is. It
highest
is.
living expenses in the world. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would love to see. The thing is, I'd love to visit there. I've never been. I want to, so it's on my list of things to do. Hopefully, when my kids get a little bit older, or there's like some convention I can go up there and go do or something.
Totally.
I can just make the trek up north.
Totally.
So, okay, yeah, well, I'll let you go, man, and thank you again for calling in, and definitely calling again. But we have Discord if you want to save yourself some money.
100%. I'll definitely join that next time. Thanks so much, Matt. I really appreciate it.
Have a good one, dude. Peace out. It's been a long day, and I don't have a filter right now, so that's why she's gonna go crazy. Garguts. There we go. I said that. Yeah, it says he doesn't care about Spider-Man Marvel Sony split. Dude, I get it. Not everyone's gonna care, man. I think I'll be honest with you. I care because like I really like Tom Holland in the role. I love Peter Parker. I love Spider-Man. And you know what? I've got my own set of daddy issues. So it gets me in some trouble. Anyway. Hey, 818, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, Matt? I'm a big fan of yours. How's it going, man?
It's going good. What's on your mind tonight?
It's a little surreal actually getting to speak to you. I've been a big fan of yours since I discovered you back in, I think it was 2016 when I came across your Ghostbusters video. So yeah, man, it's a real honor speaking to you. Dude.
Ghostbusters is the
fan.
gift that keeps on giving. 100%. It's the gift.
Absolutely.
No, I really appreciate you watching. Thank you very much.
Of course, man. So I just wanted to actually talk about Spider-Man. I just had a quick thought. I was talking about it with my girlfriend the other day, and I was just giving her my idea of, if they were to actually not go through with this deal, then I thought of a clever way how they can actually just completely undo everything that Marvel did for Spider-Man in the opening scene of the next movie. And you want to hear my idea for what that might be? So basically, this entire thing that Peter Parker was going through, just basically, you ever when you fall asleep, you ever have a dream that just extends, and for you it feels like, it was like a few hours, but it really was just a few minutes, and you can't tell the difference? Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, this happened to me before.
Well, that's exactly what the MCU would be for Peter Parker. Just a dream. Just a prolonged dream sequence that happened in his head.
I had this really weird dream where my aunt all of a sudden became this really hot chick, and we lived in this apartment in Queens and not a house. And Flash was like an Indian guy and not a douchebag. Well, he was a douchebag, but like not, no, that could be something. Here's actually, I have a theory. I came up with my own theory tonight. I think I know why Sony wanted to maybe break this deal apart, because I think it is all Sony. Let's be fair. It's all Sony at this point. Right. I think what it was is they know that they need to put Spider-Man in Venom. I think they know that Venom was one of those movies that's a fluke. It's not a bad movie, but it's not a great film either. And they confirmed that Woody Harrelson is going to be playing Carnage. and everyone wants to see Venom and Spidey fight Carnage, right? That would be like the ultimate, oh my God, for comic fans. And so what they do is they yanked him out of the MCU now, knowing that Marvel will always come to the table to make a deal again in the future. They're in this, like, Marvel right now is in this lull. It's in a break phase, which you kind of have to after Endgame, right? You kind of have to. You got to take a little bit of time to chill out and have some low stakes properties to kind of like get people interested again in what's going to be coming. And I think that could be a thing. It could be a thing where they have pulled him out in order to put him, no strings attached, right, into Venom, and then make him and get him and Venom to fight Carnage. And then when that's over, jump him back in the MCU. Think about that one for a second.
That's really interesting. I didn't consider that at all, that it's just something they're doing temporarily. But, based off of that, I think by the time they actually make that movie, Sony will already be in the getting sold off probably to like Apple or something.
Well, if Sony sells,
by that point,
if Sony sells, the rights for Spider-Man revert back to Marvel.
Exactly.
And so like
at that point,
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Sony is in it for like maybe short-term game, right? I think they're in it for a short-term gain. Build up that, And the thing is, because again, it's like, why would you sit there and go, yeah, we can have, less risk financially into this property with the company that's already made us, $2 billion almost from these two films that they took 5% of first day dollar from. That was it, or first day gross. And Sony's made a lot of money. It's the only profitable goddamn franchise they have that's not animated. I just want to make that clear. Or TV, for example. And the thing is, they're also wanting to work on the Spider-Man TV shows set in the Spider-Man universe that won Best Animated Film. And guess what? Those shows, that universe that Phil Lord and Chris Miller are working on, that's dead now. Because Disney owns the TV rights to Spider-Man. So that shit's all dead now. So whatever Sony is planning here, it seems like it's a temporary play to get short-term gain in order to use Spider-Man right now. It's like borrowing it's like robbing Peter to pay Paul. No, really, it feels like it. And I mean, again, I could just be completely overthinking this. Here, in the chat, if you guys think I'm overthinking this, press 1. If you think I'm onto something, press 2. I want to hear it. But yeah, that's where we are right now, man. It's in a crazy place.
No, I think you're completely onto something. I didn't even consider that. We've always known that they wanted to incorporate Venom or Spider-Man into a Venom movie or vice versa. And I could tell that they never really had a plan to do that, with Marvel's approval. So yeah, you make a great point. Just pull them out temporarily, make the movie, see how it performs. And if it doesn't do how they expect, or if it gets negative reviews, then just give it back to Marvel. Like, here you go, you could have Peter again.
Yeah,
but I just feel like I just feel like if they did that, then it's gonna kind of break the current story arc we have with Peter. Like they're gonna, and I know at the end of the day, Sony doesn't really give a shit about that stuff, but I mean, for the fans, at least for the people who are invested in these movies and want to see a continuation of that story arc, it's going to be a little weird if we go back to that after so many years, granted, we're not getting much of, at least we don't know at this point what Marvel was planning to do with that, but we're not really getting Spider-Man in anything Phase 4 related. But then again, look, we're getting random characters that are just popping up in different Disney Plus shows and in a few of these movies in the MCU. So you never know. They might have had something planned with Spider-Man in there just to make a cameo appearance in maybe a Doctor Strange movie or something, or even, the Thor movie. Who knows? Or a Disney Plus show. But
if it's a Disney, they could put Tom Holland. Once Tom Holland is done with the Sony contract, the one more movie, he could then go off and do a TV show on Disney Plus, and they would do it in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, they would do it in a heartbeat. Oh yeah. Because actually, it wouldn't be. They could do Tom Holland in a Disney Plus show because they have the rights to Spider-Man, but it would be a different universe. I'm not too sure how the rights work on that one because the Marvel Studios produced it. So would Marvel still have access? Like, is it a joint production between so they share the assets, they share the new suits? I'm honestly not sure. So don't quote me on that one. It's more of a, of a fan speculation sort of thing.
I have a quick question for you because I know you watched the Midnight Edge videos, but there was one they did not too long ago when they actually discussed what's happening with the sharing arrangement between Sony and Marvel. And one of the things they said, and this is the thing that just is completely confused me, is they said that if for any reason this contract, if they weren't sharing, if it wasn't a sharing agreement anymore, then this current version of Spider-Man and all of the characters that are in the movie would be frozen, and neither company would be able to use it.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
Yeah.
Well, that would make more sense.
Now we're getting conflicting. Yeah, now we're getting conflicting reports about how he's gonna go off and he's gonna be in his own Spider-Man movie, and everyone's gonna be the same except we're not gonna get any MCU characters. But that totally contradicts what they said in their video about this version of Spider-Man and all of the characters just completely being off the table. So it's a little confusing.
It's all a little confusing. I need to go and look up the finer points of the deal if that information is out there. Then again, I don't really, this was 2015 and I was in the process of moving at the time. So I was kind of busy and so I may not have been paying attention. So I have to go look. I'm not saying that because I know Andre personally and I like Andre quite a bit. So I think he would, he'd put out the best information that he had, but it would make a lot of sense that it would be frozen because it's a joint production. So then Marvel couldn't just take it back and do an Aunt May, Marissa Tomei movie or something. But I think it's pretty damn ridiculous that it got to this point. And but here's the biggest tell that it's Sony's fault is that if it's true that they spent 6 months without talking to Marvel about renewing the deal, if they waited 6 months before pulling out, then they were clearly planning something. Now, in the Midnight Edge video, they did say that it does kind of coincide with Into the Spider-Verse winning Best Animated Picture, and that would make some sense. Sony clearly, and this is under Tom Rothman, they clearly get their, once they get a little bit of success, it's like give them an inch, they take a mile. You don't learn. Sony never learns how to properly run franchises, especially Tom Rothman. And he's just biting, because the thing is, he when it came to Ghostbusters, that was the Amy Pascal thing, but Tom Rothman ran with it so much so that he attacked the fan base. And he said, all the trolls are just misogynistic, even though that wasn't the case at all. And so he's clearly has no problem with doubling down on bullshit to try to play a hand, but he keeps gambling and losing. So we'll have to wait and see what happens here. But if Sony keeps losing money, eventually, they're going to get sold off 100%.
I can't wait. And with this deal, they're just they're making sure that happens sooner than later.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is, though, the Spider-Man situation is pissed off a lot of people. And I think now that more information is coming out and people kind of realize who the culprit is, Sony, that's gonna ripple its way through fandom. Very similar to how, Matt, people... Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's going to ripple itself through the fandom. That's all.
When you talked about the whole 6 months, basically Sony ghosting Marvel, a thought came to my head. If that was the case, and Kevin Feige must have known that this deal is probably not going to go through, and he kind of accepted that a long time ago. But if that is the case, then why do you think they added that cliffhanger at the end of the movie when they didn't need to add anything like that? They could have had that as the opening for the next movie if this deal was actually approved, and they could have started.
I think they were holding out hope. I think they were holding out hope is what they were doing. I think so. Yeah, I think that's what they were doing. But hey, man, I'm gonna let you go because I got about 20 minutes left tonight, and I know there's a couple more people that wanted to chime in. But hey, man, I do appreciate you calling. It was good. It was a good talk. Definitely feel free to call in again.
All right, man. Thanks.
Hey.
Will do. It was really cool talking to you, bro.
Yeah, man. You too. You too. Thank you so much.
All right. Good night.
Bye. All right. There was a 765 number that has called in, that tried to get through a little bit. If they want to call back, now is the time. If not, I am going to start wrapping this thing up here in the next few minutes. We'll do maybe 1-2 phone calls, quick calls. In order to, I just checked Twitter, which was, funny. Anyway, Twitter is always a nightmare. So there's, oh yeah. Discord. Okay. Right. Let me go to the Discord here. And let me just okay. So the 765 number, hold off for like a few minutes. And we'll see if we can make this thing work. All right. 1 second here. Okay. Hey, what's going on? Denzel, how you doing, man?
I'm good, and you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just winding down. Been a good show, I think. Been a fun show.
It's been a fun show.
So
I want to actually reply to what the previous caller had just said about Feige inserted the cliffhanger. I think Feige did it to ensure that it's difficult for Sony to leave.
Maybe it could have been a trap, yeah. And if that's a good trap, I didn't think about that. That's a great trap.
That is. Okay. Something else. I'm going to actually do something controversial on this channel. Not
Really?
likes this movie. Okay. Jedi.
Wait, you kind of broke up a little bit. What?
I'm saying that I liked The Last Jedi.
No, that's fine. That's totally fine.
I did have some problems with it though. Like I think how they handled Luke wasn't actually proper. I think you need another movie, something like that, where Luke would be tempted to do something like that. Because what we expected of Luke, if you look at the Return of the Jedi, we expect that when the franchise returns, then you'll have Luke having restored the Jedi and being the guy that we expected. But when we have The Last Jedi, you find that Luke is actually quite different. But for me, my concern is that it's not actually Luke being different, but rather who we are attached to, and we don't actually see him in a new trilogy. So I think Disney should actually consider another movie. We handle this thing properly and please everybody, because right now I feel like if they leave it the way it is, we're going to always be fighting over how they handled Luke.
Well, I don't think we're ever going to, I don't think we're ever going to all agree or disagree on the Luke situation. That is until we see what happened. What's going to happen? Like, we don't know. I mean, I think what you're trying to say is like, you think Disney should do kind of like a Luke movie, like right now, to give him like what he's been doing on Octus. Is that what you're trying to get to?
Yeah, how he became the man he is in the new trilogy. Because right now, it's sort of like the way how I felt with Game of Thrones, how they handled Daenerys. I don't care that she actually became this Mad Queen, but I find that I don't think that they handled in a way where you can actually believe that, you know what, this woman, she was like this, but now the way they handled it was so sudden, and we expected her. It
wasn't though. Like, they had been. If you look at it from a character perspective, and you have to look at it again, you kind of have to dive into the psychology of Daenerys, because these characters, these are, in our minds, in these stories, they're living, breathing people. You know, they're going to have thoughts and emotions. And Daenerys, since she had been a child, whisked away from King's Landing down to, was it to Essos? And, you know, she'd been told her whole life, your legacy, our legacy was stolen. Our father was murdered. A traitor sits on the throne. It's our duty to take it back. And she always wanted to be loved. She keeps saying that, like, throughout the show. In fact, her last conversation with Jon Snow was like, they love you. They don't love me, you know? And then her, like, I think the last thing she really said to him before all that was, okay, fine. It's fear then. Because what she wanted was, she got jealous of Jon, and he had that natural charisma. People naturally gravitated towards him. And they did for her, but it was never going to be enough. And that's the thing people don't take into account. It was never enough. In that moment when the bells rang, it wasn't going to be enough. Do you really think it was going to go peacefully? Like, no, adrenaline was amped, and it wasn't what she wanted. And she fucking lost it. And she kind of gave into that impulse. And we'd seen her throughout the seasons burn people, crucify people, bad people, but she still did it.
But Matt, you're forgetting that this Game of Thrones, that these people are not progressives or liberals. They actually are the kind of kill children.
You can't defeat human nature, though, man. You can never defeat human nature, right?
Oh, I'm saying that her behavior throughout the series is not actually like abnormal for Game of Thrones. How characters behave, like, because remember, Jon killed a boy, even if he actually committed a crime, but he did it. Jon's father, what's his name again?
Ned Stark.
He killed a teenager who was just afraid.
Well, yeah, but he said, but that was one of those things too, where it's like the rules of the land dictated that, and it was but the thing is though, but the rules only apply until they don't. That's the whole thing too. Ned Stark was a principled man. Ned Stark was a principled man who wanted to do the right thing for his friend, and he went to war over the death of his sister. Only later finding out what really happened. By then it was already too late to do anything, so he kept the secret. Because had he not kept the secret, it would have led to more death. And that was Ned Stark as a person. And that's the thing but we never got seasons of development with him. We got seasons of development with Daenerys. And the thing with Daenerys is that was still a George R.R. Martin thing. That was still his thing. That was his story choice.
You know that George, and again, George said that there was actually, and again, D&D actually outlined everything that George was going to plan anyways. She was always going to burn King's Landing. But George wasn't just going to skip important lines where you see her progressing into this person who's like, you know what? Remember, Daenerys killed many people, but she didn't kill people who weren't threatening her, like her brother, weren't evil. She was always defending the innocent people. But all of a sudden,
But those weren't her people. Those weren't her people. Her people were who she grew up with. She had no allegiance to the people in King's Landing. She didn't see them. She thought of them as the same pawn at the end of the day that Cersei did. That it never mattered. They never mattered.
Remember in season 7, right? Daenerys refused to go and burn King's Landing. She said,
yeah, she refused to go and burn. Yeah, she refused it because she was always fighting against her grander nature. She was always fighting back against that. It was always a fight because she could have done it. She could have done it multiple times, just attacked King's Landing, but she wanted to be principled. She wanted to be loved. So she chose that path.
I'm saying that episode 5 pretty much throws that kind of character away. So that she can
it doesn't.
Kill.
It doesn't. Because in that moment, you're also, okay, look, Missandei had just died. She watched her best friend get killed, right? Get murdered in front of her. One of her top advisors had been actively plotting against her. And because, and the guy that she knows serves the throne. Doesn't matter who sits there, but he serves the throne for the betterment. So he already didn't trust her. She knew about Jon's birth, so she was already having doubts in her own mind. She knew people loved Jon more than her. And she already, was already known to do this kind of shit. There are dominoes that fell that led to that moment. And Tyrion the whole time was like, look, when the bells ring, and they will ring, you have won. And he kept trying to remind her of that because he knew that she did not feel that same way. He was trying to, because she was already starting to lose it. We'd already been seeing this. Subtle little things here and there, comments made here and there, actions here and there. And he knew what she was going to do. And he hoped he could talk her out of it. But her nature as a Targaryen, as a mad Targaryen, in that moment took over and she burned the whole fucking place. Like, it was 100% in line with her character.
They spent years telling us that Daenerys was different from other Targaryens. You know that, right?
Yeah. Oh, no. They can. They can tell you that. They can tell you that till the end of time. They spent years telling us that Anakin, was a good person until he became Darth Vader. Right? It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much for a person to give in.
I'm talking about the Targaryen thing that you're referencing. That D&D said that does not apply to her. That she's actually different. So the madness that Targaryens normally have, like what you saw with her brother.
Do you think they were going to tell you? But do you think they were going to tell you the ending? No.
But you're trying to explain her mentality. So I'm trying to use D&D's words.
But did they say this? Did they say this before or after?
Oh, many years before.
Many years, right? Many years. When they were, do you think they were going to spoil one of the biggest twists of the whole show? Years in the no. There's always misdirection.
Listen, Daenerys could always be evil, right? But remember, actually done all the stuff because her husband was killed, and she was still quite. She showed mercy to that woman whom the Dothraki were trying to rape. She showed them mercy without needing to, and her what's his name again? Drago. That's his name, right?
He
was killed. Yeah, he didn't change. She didn't change. Then there was this moment where she was telling her Unsullied that when they are invading, and they shouldn't hurt innocent civilians. She didn't have to, it was like something unique to her, and nobody else within the series ever cared about civilians before. She was the only one who had the kind of mentality of kill hurt civilians. Other characters were actually, you know what, just invade. She was the one saying.
Well, no, because she also kept saying that too, because Tyrion kept telling her, you want to win the favor of the people. And this is what's going to happen. And he was right. And she still, but you're also missing, again, like I pointed out, the dominoes were falling around her. The dominoes were all, no, they were all.
She met Tyrion, remember? Even before she met
No, she was trying. But again, she could have ruled Essos and been loved. Right? Yeah. She could have. But she chose to go after the Seven Kingdoms. She chose to go after King's Landing. She chose to go after the Iron Throne. It's a totally different fucking game.
There's other mentalities, or something that you actually mentioned about her being unloved, right, by the people of. But the truth is, that isn't actually quite. It's sort of like D&D pretty much forcing an issue. A writer can force any issue, like, oh yeah, we can make people unreasonably hate a person without any reason to hate the person.
I don't think.
I'm not even fair. He had no reason to stop actually favoring Daenerys because he didn't know who Jon Snow is. Only we the audience know how Jon Snow is, that he's a good man.
No, but the thing is though, as soon as Varys found out, his mind changed.
But Varys did not know what kind of man he is. So to Varys, To Varys, John could have just been a guy who had genes.
But none of that mattered. But the thing is, he had the rightful. But the thing is, to Varys, ultimately, John had the rightful claim to the throne over Daenerys. So Varys made that abundantly clear on like 3 or 4 occasions when talking to Tyrion before he died. He made that abundantly clear.
Yes,
He's like, why? He says, no, hold on. He says, why don't we marry them? Why don't we marry them? If we marry them, problem fucking solved. Tyrion's like, they're not going to want to share. Daenerys is not going to want to share. He already pinpointing her mindset, already pinpointing things. Dude, I get what you're saying, but I'm telling you, there's lines of dialogue. Either go back and watch it again. There's lines of dialogue that start to weave this narrative into place. Like, it starts to weave it together. They knew who Daenerys' true intention, like who she was as a true person. Daenerys was putting on a mask for people to see. At the end of the day, she. She wanted to be better, but she wanted to be loved for it. It was, what's the fucking description I want to use here? It's that, you know, it's like she wants, you know, she does something for you. She wants you to love her, sort of thing, rather than let it be a natural progression. And Cersei was already playing the propaganda game. Robert Baratheon was playing the propaganda game. Everyone knew about Robert's rebellion. Everyone knew about the Targaryen, the Mad King. Everyone knew about this. You're telling me that like they had this, like anyone in King's Landing would give 2 shits about who Daenerys fucking Targaryen was? No one in King's Landing would know who she was. So no one in King's Landing would ever actually love her right off the bat. And that's what she wanted.
Remember, they knew about her after. Actually knew about her because remember, she's the one who saved them. So the North at least knows about her. The rest of King of Westeros, yes, I would actually say, yeah, probably they don't know about her at all. But the North do know about her. But when she reacts and say no, but the North loves John more, it's unreasonable. You're trying to make Daenerys unreasonable by saying that because of course they would love John more. He is a Northman and you are new. It's not like
yes.
Westeros
And she was
John.
jealous. She was jealous.
Jealous.
Go and watch episode 4. Go and watch the opening of episode 4. She was absolutely jealous watching him because of how they treated him, and no one treated her that way. No, they that's what it was.
Man, I'm not saying she wasn't jealous, right? I'm saying that when you're writing a character, you have to make it justifiable why she would actually feel this way. Because remember, loving other Northmen is actually a Northman thing to do. It isn't unique to Daenerys and nothing to do with Daenerys. It's the fact that Northmen love Northmen. The rest of Westeros don't actually care about Jon, actually.
No, because what it was is
they're the ones that care about Jon.
But we're talking about what we see in the show. And what we see in the show is Jon traveling to get Dragonstone, right? Or Dragonglass, whatever it is. And then him meeting Daenerys. And then him saying to Daenerys, I am fighting for the North. That's what I care about. This is a fight that's coming. And him convincing her by her falling in love with him because he's a strong man like Khal Drogo was, but he's more reasoned, he's more measured. And he convinced her to go to the North. She says this as much, I think, in like episode 1 of season 8. She says this to Sansa, that's what convinced her to go up there. She sacrificed one of her dragons in order to try to get the 7 kingdoms by trying to get Cersei on board to help them out, because then she knew that she could use it. It was all political anyway, but she believed Jon and she believed in his call. And then when they got to the North and they beat the Night King, and then everyone's rejoicing, even though she was fighting at the dragons too, even though she was there, no one ever gave her the time of day. She sat there alone, which is one of the reasons why Varys went over and talked to her. So she was
Action.
Okay. Yeah. Everything just got kind of fucked up, but I do have to run anyway, because it's 1. I gotta get to bed.
Okay. Just one more point, right? What I'm saying is this, man. Yes, you can have characters be jealous. Actually write it in a way that is reasonable for why certain characters around them would make them jealous in the first place. It's sort of like you have to give, for instance, Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, a reason to actually behave in a certain way. You can't have him just being
Well, that was
way just
part. That was
to make
that was
sure.
part of his. We never got that, and I'm hoping we get that with him in the next movie. But we're
What I'm
talking about
saying,
what we're talking about.
say is that my issue, like I said, whether I do like The Last Jedi, but my issue is that you cannot write characters into forcing Luke Skywalker to acting in a certain way, because like you have to actually make sure that it goes in naturally, so that you're not actually forcing him to behave.
They didn't force her to
In a
behave
way that
anyway. They had been setting it up for a long time. It was that's all it was. I'm telling you to go back and look at the way she was the way she was treated, who she wanted to be, what she ultimately wanted, which is what John had. And when she started, when he told her that he was who he was, and she started to see what she had been fighting for so easily taken away from her. It's why she was just telling him, look, just don't say anything. She was begging him to not say anything. It's one of those things where you have to look at it from the perspective of a person who is sitting on a secret that directly impacts you. Someone could narc on you and you're like, please don't say anything about this. Please, this is going to have greater impacts. And then you become paranoid and you become worried because you have emotions. And that's what they were doing, is they were building off of those emotions that led her to just want to take control, because she knew eventually it would come out. Sansa would have been dead had Daenerys actually won. That was pretty much already made comment by Tyrion at one point in time. And it was like, Sansa, Daenerys had figured it all out, that she'd been betrayed. And that's why she was like, I'm not going to sit there and let anyone have any opportunity to question me, to question what I can do. So she fucking showed them. Again, it's all right there. It's all right there.
Yeah, but having setups is not the same thing as having development for it.
Life is full of set. Yes, it is.
I can set up something, but it doesn't mean I'm developing it.
You are, yes, because you're watching it develop over time. You're watching it develop over time. That's what it is. Could they have done maybe a little bit better of a job in explaining it a bit more? Yeah, sure, fine. Anything could be explained a bit better. But if you go back and you just watch the little subtleties, really get loud the more you pay attention to them, because they're really aiming you down that path. And I think here's the thing. I'm just, because I really have to go, but I'm gonna wrap it up with this. This is basically how I view it. Daenerys did not have did not go the path that a lot of people wanted her to take, and as a result, they're mad. And that's how I view it. That's how I view it. She didn't go the way they wanted her to go. And like as a result, they're mad.
I told you, I'm perfectly fine with her being the Night Queen. I always knew in a way that it would actually be something that George would do. It's something that is a kind of thing, because George is not a kind of guy who would write a story about how this chosen person will become a king, and then everything happy, everything, and the whole kingdom is fine. But because he's more focused on like the small stuff, a king for or a queen for. And that's how George is. But is that nothing that Daenerys actually did is actually out of line with what other characters do. That her showed signs of being mad or being a kind of person to commit this evil is the same thing as saying John could also do the same thing, because then
John,
it's everything in line, because John murdered a kid. That one thing that he cannot escape, he murdered a kid. He executed a child. So how can you?
He executed. Hold on, he executed a kid who killed Ygritte for one, and was also involved in a mutiny against him, which murdered him. So let's sit there and let's at least attach the context to why John murdered a kid. Oh, by the way, what was that in line with? Oh yeah, exactly the same thing that Ned did to the kid in the very first episode. That was the whole thing. I really think I have to go, but I really do think that you are looking for anything to justify not being happy with what happened. I'm saying that because like there's so many counterpoints to what you're saying, and I'm just saying that's where I'm at. We can continue this on another day, 100%. But I actually have to go to bed. So I'm gonna wrap this up, man. But hey, it was fun. It's heated, but it's fun. We'll definitely talk again, 100%. And I'll talk to you later. All right, that went on a little bit longer than I thought. Thank you very much, man. I like arguing. That's a lot of fun. I used to have a buddy of mine that would get really hammered, like drink 18 beers, and then we would just he would go off about Lord of the Rings for like 2 hours. So yeah, I've been there. All right, everyone's coming. What do you mean you're coming after me tomorrow? What, you gonna call in? You gonna call in? Yeah, well, tomorrow's the last show of the week, so right about. Okay, so anyway, that was fun. That was good times. I do need to go to bed though, because I gotta be really look after my kids. And yeah, I have no idea what even to name this fucking episode. But all right, I will talk to you guys tomorrow night. Thank you again so much, everyone that called in. Great conversations. You guys all rock. And peace out.